Okay, we are live. Looks like we're getting audio. Everything all good. Okay, we'll go ahead and give a little bit of time just in order to make sure people have a chance to get on. Give them a little bit of time. My guess is it's not going to be quite the same numbers as for a few reasons. Obviously, I don't have a guest, and I'll go ahead and talk about that now. We have 4 people on. Hello, James Thompson. Thank you. First time commenting, if I recall correctly. Thank you for watching. Hello, James. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of Vanderbilt, and welcome to Terrier Talk. This is episode 17. Not much to talk about, but what we do have to talk about is quite important. Of course, this is playoff season. Both track and baseball have a lot of big news to cover. Beforehand, I'm going to go ahead and talk about there's no guest this week, and that's mostly due to my lack of ability to get in touch really with anyone this week. I do have a guest lined up for next week. That is going to be Colin Barnes. So hopefully, everyone come out for that. We're going to have talk about golf for that. They have someone's going to be individually in state. So we're going to have a nice season wrap up for golf. But 2 big things to talk about right now, and they are the track regional meet and the baseball series with De La Salle. The baseball series with De La Salle was a classic. It was so good. I didn't have a chance to watch it, but from what I've read about it, from what I've heard about it, it was a great best 2 out of 3 series. But first, we're going to go ahead and talk about the regional games. Now, the regional track meet. So, we didn't have quite the same performance that maybe we would have hoped. At least on the boys' side, the boys didn't finish very highly at all. We had a few high finishers, not many, however, unfortunately. Give me 1 second. The girls finished pretty well for themselves. They finished actually in first, which is obviously quite impressive. So a few high finishes for the boys. Dylan Smith finished just outside of regionals in the 3,200 meter run. He finished. The girls had a lot of high finishes. A lot of people getting into regionals. I don't have the exact list, but a very high number, and that means that we're going to have a good experience, hopefully, at state. I think it's this Saturday. So. Girls finished first, boys didn't finish very well, but both sides have at least a few people moving on to state. Girls have a lot, boys have, I think, 1 or 2. Either way, of course, good luck to all those Terriers, and a great job in that regional meet to everyone. Everyone who qualified it to regionals, as well as, of course, the people who qualified to state. But now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the meat of this video, and that is going to be the series. The first round playoff series against De La Salle. Wow. So, we were the 9th seed. We traveled to De La Salle, I think. It might have been neutral site, but I think we traveled to De La Salle, and it was Wednesday, the first game, and then the second game and a third game, if necessary, happened on the Friday. So, the first game happens. It didn't have quite the start that we wanted it to. They came out, got a lead. I think they held the lead, and then they went on to win the game, being only the third team, in basically a month to secure a victory against us. At that point, we had won 16 of our last 18 games, and that had gotten us to the point where we have won, of course, 16 of our last 19. However, with tenacity, with resilience, with willpower, with everything, all the momentum that we've gathered over this last month and a half, winning those 16 games, we did everything we could, and we came back to win the whole series. It was amazing. Going into that second game, we lost 9-4 the first time. We got to bat second, and it was great. They came so close. It was the bottom of the 6th inning, bottom of the 7th inning, and we were tied. And we came back in that 7th inning, in that 8th inning, to come back and to win the game. A walk-off hit a walk-off hit from Josh Shelley off the wall to win the game. Brendan Hamner being great on the bat, in the bats, hitting 3 for 4. Brendan Hamner also, again, on fire on the mound. Who was the person that we lost against Edie White, we lost against De La Salle, in the second game against both? Who was the person that on the mound brought us back with his fire, with his momentum? 9 strikeouts, 5 innings pitched. Great day for Brendan Hamner in that second game, was our starting pitcher. Great performance there. Colby Dufresne ended up relieving him and becoming the winning pitcher, and great job to him as well. Bottom of the 8th, Josh Shelley hits that with the bases loaded and 1 out. Absolutely amazing, coming back from behind that first game to win that second game. And then that momentum carried us right into the last game of the series. It happened basically right afterwards. Maybe there was a small break, but 2 games in one day, that doubleheader, that second game, scored 4 runs in the first inning, and with that momentum, just cruised into a victory. It was 11-6. Amazing 12-hit game for the Terriers. Josh Shelley, another very solid performance in this game. He had a great day, going 2 for 4 with an RBI. Colby Dufresne went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Eli David, Gavin Daigle, CJ Detillier, Hunter Porsche, Brendan Hamner again, Evan Frank, all great group performance from the Terriers here in this game. That was the major thing that happened throughout that performance. Just a very solid group base hits. Again, all those people I just mentioned, Colby Dufresne, Eli David, Gavin Daigle, CJ Detillier, Hunter Porsche, Brendan Hamner, Evan Frank, all 7 scored RBIs. 7 different players on a 9-player lineup were able to score RBIs. It was a group performance, maybe even for the ages. And we came back to win against a team. Look, this is a De La Salle team. I've said it before on this show. De La Salle is one of those teams that we play a lot, like a St. Thomas More, like a Jesuit, like a Brother Martin, that just wins in every sport all the time. Doesn't matter what the situation is. We saw them in football this year, and they blew us out. We played them earlier on in the season in baseball. I think it was in a New Orleans tournament. I think it was at a tournament in Shaw, and we got the win there. So getting the wins here, maybe not surprising, but that doesn't change just how important it is. I've talked about it a lot over this baseball season. Going and playing those teams that are tough, those teams that are really big in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, in Lafayette, St. Thomas More, U-High, who we're going to be playing next. Teams like Jesuit, Brother Martin, Rummel, Shaw, all these great teams, De La Salle, of course. They're big, they don't see us as much, and we have to go into that game being ready to throw that first punch. We didn't throw the first punch here, but luckily enough, and well enough due to our great play, we were able to throw the last. We threw that last punch in the 4th inning, in the scoring those 4 runs in the top of the 1st inning in that 3rd game, and they were just never able to get back up. It was a great game, great series from our Terriers. It was a classic, an instant classic, and we're going to be moving on into the quarterfinals. However, it never gets easier. Hello, Jack Terrio. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for watching Terrier Talk. I appreciate you coming on and commenting. Nice to have you here. Thank you. Now, it never gets easier. That's basically everything that happened over the last week. It was Easter break week, of course, for Vanderbilt. We got the whole week off. Part of the reason I wasn't able to secure a guest for the week. But those 2 things happened. We're going to go ahead and go into the 2 things that are left in this season. And that is, well, the next level for both the baseball team and the track team. The track has states. I believe that it is this Saturday, May the 4th. And the baseball team has their quarterfinal series. I'm going to go ahead and start with the track meet. The track meet's a little bit more general to talk about. Again, a few boys and a good sum of girls being able to go to that state meet, perform, maybe score some points for Vanderbilt, especially for the girls. Maybe we can go far and even go farther next year. it'll be the last time that I'll have to talk about I will be able to talk about the track team this season. And I, of course, wish the best of luck to everyone who is performing for the Terriers this weekend. Now, one last thing to talk about this week, and that is the baseball tournament, the state tournament. And it never gets easier for our Terriers. We have to take on the #1 seed. It is the U High, the University High Lab in Baton Rouge. We're going to have to take on. And they absolutely decimated their competition. It was almost, it's almost like a cupcake. Well, it is a cupcake game. Excuse me. You watch, most people here, I would assume, watch college football. It's like when you have Alabama and they go play Lamar University. That's what it felt like for both the 1 seed and the 2 seed. And the reason I'm going to bring up the 2 seed is very important. I'll talk about that in a second. But first, our matchup against U High. Look, they're a great team. They decimated Haynes Academy, the 16 seed. They beat them in 10 innings total, 2 games, 25-2, and then 11-0. That's embarrassing. A fun fact about the Terriers: we were the only team in the entire tournament. Not only the only upset in the entire tournament, the 1, 5, 4, 3, 6, 2, and 7 seeds all won. Not only the only upset, but also the only team to take the opponent to 3 games. ULAB 1 and 2 games. Our other potential opponents throughout this tournament: Parkview Baptist 1 and 2 games. Loyola Prep 1 and 2 games. Turlings Catholic, St. Charles, yes. E.D. White, of course, and St. Thomas More. The other game I'm going to talk about in just a minute. All those teams 1 and 2 games. All those teams won handily in 2 games. Most of these games, not just 2-game series wins, but not even close. 10-0, 11-1, 18-1, 12-1, 9-2. E.D. White winning their games by 5 and 4 runs respectively. E.D. White rolled through. All these teams rolled through. De La Salle had that resistance because this is a team, this is a Vanderbilt team that is different from any other underdog in this tournament. We came forth, we went to De La Salle, and we took it to them, and we won that game. And we're going to have to do that same thing if we're going to want to compete with ULAB. This isn't just talking about winning against ULAB. This is talking about competing. This is talking about not being embarrassed. There's a chance, and this is not something that I talk about a lot in this series, but there's a chance that we bring our best and don't win. That's how it works with 1 seeds. That's how it worked with the soccer game against St. Louis. We brought our best and we won, but there was always a chance that we could come out of that game and we can come out of this series thinking, look, we gave our best, we had a great performance, there's nothing to be ashamed of, but maybe ULAB's just a better team. However, that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. This is a Vanderbilt team that has now won 18 of our last 21 games. We have an absurd winning streak, if you count that as a winning streak. We're 24-10 overall, a great record for a 9 seed. 24 wins is amazing. And we're going to go into this game, I think, with a very legitimate chance of winning. ULAB is the best team in, they're one of the best teams in the entire state. They're, theoretically speaking, the best team in our division. They're going to be the heavy favorites, but this game's winnable. I've never looked at a game this entire season for the baseball team and not thought that it was winnable, especially after this momentum. We're going to have a chance. We've had a lot of resting time. We played on Friday. Come back, we're not going to play again until Friday, excuse me. We're going to have an entire week break between these 2 series, and we're going to have a chance to go out there and give the fight to ULAB, maybe even beat them. I think a win is completely reasonable to think. I think a win is completely possible. But we have to play out our best. We have to go out there, take this momentum, and run right into ULAB with it. Throw that first punch, throw that second punch, throw every punch we can, and go out there and win those games. Now, one thing I talked about last week with the E.D. White game, and I think it's important to talk about E.D. White because of this, is the potential of a rubber match. We played E.D. White twice in that 2-game series. We split the games, home and home. And if we're going to face Edie White, it's going to be in the championship game. Both teams have a rough road to try to get there. Of course, we have to play the #1 seed in St. Louis, and we have to play the #1 seed in ULAB. They played St. Louis in the first round, and they have to play the #2 seed in St. Thomas More. With one loss, a 27-1 team fell to the 7 seed in the division. If that doesn't tell you anything, it tells you just how stacked the top 9 teams really are in our division. All 9 of these teams are legitimate championship contenders because Edie White is a team that could beat any team on this list. They went 27-1. Now they're 29-1. They can beat anyone. They crushed St. Louis in their 2 games, winning 8-3 and then winning 11-7. And against St. Thomas More, for Edie White, that game is winnable. It's not easy. St. Thomas More won their 2 games by combined total run record of 38-0. 11-0 in the first game and 27-0 in the second game, which is a stupid number in baseball. That's not a number that should happen in baseball. So it's scary for Edie White. But honestly, I want to see that rubber match. Rooting for Edie White is not the way I would say it. Obviously, no one at Vanderbilt ever wants Edie White to win, but the prospect of a state championship in baseball and the prospect of beating Edie White in a rubber match is amazing, no matter who we might beat. And I think we can beat anyone, and I think a state championship is possible here. It would be amazing. But there's something special of if it were to be Edie White to get there, like last year with the soccer team beating Edie White in the championship game, or the volleyball team beating Edie White in the state championship game. There's something nice about that. And I'm going to keep track of Edie White throughout this as well, throughout these last couple of episodes of Terrier Talk before we come back next school year. I'm going to go ahead and follow Edie White just because there aren't very many games to talk about. But Edie White did beat St. Louis in 2 games, and they have to face St. Thomas More. Another one of those perennial favorites, another one of those great teams that are going to be great in every single sport, hailing from Lafayette. Edie White's going to have to travel to Lafayette, of course, to win those games. So Vanderbilt has the quarterfinal game. Edie White has their quarterfinal game, and we're 2 steps away from a potential state championship rematch. Obviously, I wish the best of luck to our Terriers. Everyone have the best chance that they can to go into that game and take the fight to University Lab. And I hope to see everyone, of course, next week for Terrier Talk. Hope to see Colin Barnes there, of course. And I hope to see you guys next week. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. See you.